Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna. Today we'll be discussing Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 4, text 25. Daivam eva pare yagnam yoginah paryupasate brahmagnav apare yagnam yagne naivopajuhvati. So you see in the previous verse, Krishna mentioned how by performing yagna for the Supreme Lord, everything becomes transcendental. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir Brahmagnav Brahmanahutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. Everything becomes Brahman. Brahman means spiritual. Our offerings, we ourselves, the result, everything becomes spiritual. But that is for those who are on the Krishna conscious platform, the highest platform, the sublime platform. But there are others who cannot reach there, but they perform other kinds of yagna. What are those is mentioned in this next set of verses, starting from this verse. So in this verse, two kinds of people are mentioned. Apare. Apare means others, those who cannot come to that Krishna consciousness. So what are these others? Daivam eva pare yagnam yoginaha paryupasate. Means some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them. Daivam paryupasate. Daivam means the demigods. Apare, others, by yagna processes. There are some sacrifices for demigods. They do that. And the other class of people, apare, brahmagnav apare yagnam yagne naivo pajuhvati. The other class of people, they offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman, in the sense, these are impersonalists. They want to annihilate themselves, their existence, and merge into impersonal effulgence. That is the kind of worship they do. So Prabhupada mentions that broadly the sacrifices are of two varieties. One is where we sacrifice our material possessions, and the other is we sacrifice or to perform in pursuit of transcendental knowledge. So these two varieties, to sacrifice material possessions and sacrifice in pursuit of transcendental knowledge. So those two are discussed here. So those who are sacrificing their material possessions, the ultimate thing is to sacrifice their material possessions for Krishna. But those who cannot do that, they sacrifice their material possessions for the demigods. They spend a lot of money in performing these elaborate rituals and sacrifices to please a particular demigod so that they can get something in return for their material happiness. But as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, whatever the demigods provide in return is bestowed in accordance with the will of the Supreme Lord. Mayaiva vihitan hitan, Krishna says. Ultimately, I have to approve it. The demigods by themselves, they cannot approve. They are not independent authorities. Like Prabhupada gives the example. So he was giving a class and he said, if somebody comes and asks something in from the temple, the devotees, they'll come and ask me, Swamiji, can I give this to them or can I do this? They're asking like this. Because I am the ultimate authority here. Even though it is actually being given by the devotee, ultimately it is sanctioned by me. So, like that, the demigods or the devatas are assigned agents to maintain this material cosmic manifestation. Whatever they bestow is ultimately granted by the Lord, even the material things. And the second thing is that antavattu phalam tesham, whatever is granted by the demigods is antavat, is temporary. Antavattu phalam, but it is meant for those who are alpamedhasam. The alpamedhasam means less intelligent. They want something only temporary. So I know one person who has worked hard to build a dream house and he accumulated a lot of money and his children left him because they want their own lives. We don't want to live in your dream house. We want our own life. We want to live in a separate place, work in a separate place. So they went away. So he was heartbroken. And still he was working hard to build his dream house to live with his wife. And it took a long time because the design that he thought, the beautiful design he thought, was not possible because of the ground conditions. And it was proving very expensive. So for that he had to earn more, get the more loan. And now he discovered some issues in their health. So he has to spend a lot of money. And now that the dream project has remained a dream for which he has worked so hard and got so many permissions and hired so many people and did so many things, but eventually he could not achieve the dream. Even if he did, he is not able to share that happiness with anybody else that he originally dreamt of. So like this, there are many examples around us, in our own examples, in our own lives. We work hard for achieving something, to get a dream house or a dream job or a dream car or whatever it is, go to a dream destination. But that might not be a dream anymore by the time we achieve it. And we will lament, oh, for this we worked so hard. So that is why they are said to be alpamedasam. If you work hard for achieving only of this something of this material world, which is temporary, it is alpamedasam. It is a sign of less intelligence, meager intelligence. Because everything perishes in this world with this body. So rather, we should work for something which does not perish. We should construct our Krishna consciousness. We should build our Krishna consciousness. How much we are advancing in our love for Krishna, love of God. That is why the human life is given. Compared to the animal lives, the human life we can cultivate love of God. Prema Pumardho Mahan. Puma Ardha. Puman Ardha means, the Ardha means what? The purpose, the ultimate purpose of our human existence is to attain love of God. But unfortunately, this is not taught even when we were brought up from our young age, we were going to temples, at least in my case, and we would just pray to any demigod temples, any place we go. Of course, even we were going to Vishnu temples as well. But we were taught to only seek, oh, pray that you will pass exam, pray that you will get this, pray that you will get that. This is not proper training. The proper training is given by the Acharya, coming from disciplic succession. Bhagavad Gita as it is, what Krishna is asking Arjuna, what Krishna is requesting Arjuna to follow, it is represented by the disciplic succession. Don't go to God for asking something material. Khalu sarvatah syat. That material things that you obtain, by which you attain some sukha, which will again lead to dukkha, isn't it? When that is taken away from you, or when you cannot enjoy it anymore, it is so much dukkha. Anything you get attached to, it results in misery, because either that will be taken away from you, or you won't be able to enjoy it like you used to because of your so many troubles in your body. It results in dukkha. So an intelligent person, he does not worry or work hard so much for those. So this is one kind of yagna where people do daivam eva pare yagnam yoginaha paryupasate. These are all bahu ishvaravadi. Prabhupada mentions in the purport that bahu ishvaravadi means they consider that there are different kinds of ishvaras or controllers or different gods. I remember in one episode there is a who wants to become a millionaire. That is the program in America that was started, from which this Kaun Banega Karorpati also was imitated. So in that original program in America, this man, he won the $1 million, one of the first people to have won. So in that there was one question posed: which of the following religions is a polytheistic religion? And different options were given, and one was Hinduism, and this guy picked Hinduism, and it was considered the right answer. And like this, there are many people who think that, who are even followers of the Vedic system, they think, oh, these demigods are nothing but different forms of God. Bahu Ishvaravadi, that's what Prabhupada calls them. They consider these are different forms of God. They do something called Panchopasanam. Pancha Upasana means usually they are recommended 5 kinds of God: the sun god, Lord Shiva, Durga, Ganesha, and even Lord Vishnu. One of them, they club Lord Vishnu into one of these. And they say that everything is one kind of form of God. But actually, no. We are not polytheistic. We are also monotheistic religion. The one Supreme Lord, Ekale Ishvara Krishna, Arasabha Bhrutya, Yare Eche Nachai Seit Taiche Kare Nritya. Chaitanya Charitamrita says, the only supreme controller, the only controller is Krishna. Everybody is his servants, and they are all dancing according to how he wants them to dance. Brahma Samhita also confirms, Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. He is the supreme controller. There is no controller above him. And Brahma Samhita further describes how all these devatas are acting in obedience with Krishna's orders. How the sun is rotating in a particular orbit in obedience with the Lord's order. Yachakshuresha savita sakalagrahanam raja samasta suramurtirasesha teja Yasyagnaya Brahmati Sambrhutakala Chakro Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Like Durga Devi. Srishti Sthiti Pralaya Sadhana Shakti Reka. She is capable of Srishti Sthiti Pralaya, creation, maintenance, and destruction. But she acts exactly like Chaya Iva. Chaya means shadow. The shadow follows the person. So she follows the order of Krishna. Lord Shiva is said to be the incarnation in charge of mode of ignorance to handle the mode of ignorance. Similarly, the Ganesha, he gets the power to remove obstacles because he meditates on the lotus feet of Krishna. So in this way, the demigods, they're all servants of Krishna. They are not equally independent controllers. One who considers them on the same platform as Narayana, Krishna, is considered a condemned person. Even though he follows the Vedic system, he is considered an atheist, Pashandi. Yastu Narayanam Devam Brahmarudradi Daivataihi Samatvenaiva Viksheta Sa Pashandi Bhaved Dhruvam. He becomes Pashandi if he considers Samatvenaiva Viksheta. He considers these demigods, even that of Brahma and Shiva, to be on equal footing with that of Narayana. So there, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to tell this story. So there was this boy suffering with a boil on his skin, and the parents become quite distressed about it. The mother tries to get the cure, and she tries on somebody's advice some leaves. She grinds some leaves and applies it on that boil. It only soothes for some time, but the boils come up again. And they are trying to get some cure like this. And then her brother comes from Tibet, known for his impersonalistic practices. He comes and says, to their shock, you know what I have learned, that the end of all suffering is to give up this body. Or in other words, he indicates that the only cure for this boy is to be killed so that he doesn't suffer anymore. And then finally, the father comes with an experienced surgeon, a doctor, and with a knife, he conducts the operation, removes that infection. Even though there is suffering for some time, eventually the boy becomes all right. So you see, this story is given to illustrate the point that this boil on the skin represents those material tribulations we all face in this world. And to overcome that, we take to temporary relief in the form of demigod worship. Those leaves that are giving relief is a temporary soothing relief, or the painkiller we take for our disease is a temporary relief of our pain. It does not remove the disease on the root. So that is the Devata Radhana. And the uncle who came from Tibet, he represents the impersonalism or voidism. The Buddhism, Nirvisesha Shunyavadi, means You annihilate your existence. The Buddhism means voidism. When you die, everything goes and merges into this nature and you don't have suffering anymore. Or the impersonalism. We are suffering because we are in this body, and when we become liberated and lose this identity, become one with that impersonal effulgence, there is no suffering. And finally, the bhakta, he takes shelter of Krishna, the doctor, who removes the disease from the heart. That aprarabdha phalam papam kutam bijam phalonmukam kramena iva praliyeta Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. One who takes to Vishnu bhakti, Lord Vishnu removes all our dirt in the heart. From the root, the disease of sense gratification, the disease of material lust is taken away from the heart. Shunvatam swakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtanah hridyantastho hi abhadrani vidunoti suhrutsatam. So Krishna vidunoti, he removes, he cleanses, because he is the well-wisher of the spirit soul, and who is trying to hear to his messages, Shunvatam Swakatha, which are in themselves virtuous when they are properly heard and chanted. So Krishna cures, but it might appear very painful, just like the doctor coming with the knife and performing the surgery. So that is why people, they don't go to Krishna. They go to easier painkillers to soothe their temporary, their problems as a temporary relief. But Krishna cures from the root, the actual medicine, the actual cure. So those who are intelligent goes for the complete cure. But those who are not, they go for this temporary cure. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, the Guru is like this expert doctor who puts the medicine, even though it's like a, you see, we have this Goshala. Sometimes the veterinary doctor comes and the animal, very hard to control the animal and put the medicine in its mouth or give it some injection and things like that. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when somebody asked him, oh, why we are not inclined towards the Supreme Lord service, Krishna consciousness, why we are inclined only towards material things. So he said, we have no inclination towards God or Krishna consciousness, nor inclination to remedy that situation. Therefore, we are like an animal who is uncontrolled, who just wants to do things without any remedy. So, just like the animal requires a veterinary expert doctor who can control it and put the medicine, we need an expert doctor. Our inclination towards the Lord will arise if we associate with devotees. And just as a veterinary surgeon tactfully places medicine in an animal's mouth, similarly the spiritual master and the devotees, who are just like the expert doctors, bestow mercy on us. And despite our reluctance, they forcibly pour the mellows of devotional service into our mouths. So if you associate with devotees, you get invited. Hey, why don't you come to this session? Why don't you come for this kirtan? Why don't you come for this service? Even though we are reluctant, sometimes, even though we may be forced, it is for our good. That is for our medicine. So the other kind of yagna, this is Daivam evapare yagna. Yoginaha paryupasate. Brahmagna vapare yagna means the yagna performed by the impersonalists. Why is this yagna? Because they offer their own selves into the fire of Supreme Brahman so that they can become merged into that impersonal effulgence. Brahmananda, they say, oh, this material world is suffering because we are thinking we are this body. But I am spirit soul. Let me enjoy Brahmananda by merging. But that is only temporary. How long can you remain without identity, without individuality, without action, by merging into impersonal? So, for want of activity, you will fall down anyway to material activity. So, better take up spiritual activity. There are several examples in our history. The Kumaras, they were impersonal, they were liberated in the impersonal concept of the Absolute. Chukadeva Goswami, he was liberated in the impersonal concept of the Absolute. But they all, when they heard about Krishna, they all became attracted because Krishna is transcendentally attractive to those who are material as well as those who are liberated. And then they took to Krishna consciousness. So everybody, ultimately, the ultimate end is taking to Krishna consciousness. So why not take it now instead of going through all these methods? So I'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments? Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.